So there's a hope that I felt like happened last year in the Oscars. 9 out of 10 Oscars last year, so 9 out of the 10 Oscars, had change agents in those films that were Gen Z age. So they were next generation change agents last year. I called it hope in the between-agers. So I was like, okay, this year, what's going to happen is, and I'm always wrong when I try to fortune tell. So I'm like, this year, what's going to happen is you guys, your generation, is going to stop this war in Ukraine. Like it's going to be you guys, or it's going to be Russian, youth or something like that, because they usually stop wars and stuff like that. And there's going to be all these things, or if it's not war, it's going to be something else where the next generation helps us be a we. Crickets. I'm still waiting on you.
I'm sure we
dude.
did some things.
You probably
I don't know
did
what they
some
are.
things. So I was like, well, there is a trend this year that keeps going. So even though there were 9 out of 10 last year, this year there are still a whole bunch of next generation characters. So there's 8 out of the 10 this year actually are still younger generation characters. And so I want to I called up my friend Tim Elmore. Now Tim is a guy who does next generation kind of work. He works with an organization called Growing Leaders. And I asked Tim, I said, tell me, Tim, about this generation. Like, I want to know, I want to know about my son. I want to know about his age folks. Like, what could make them change agents? Like, what is special about them? And then this is what he said.
As I collect data on Generation Z and the Alpha generation, I'm seeing a younger population feeling very empowered. In fact, when you look at the data, the millennials felt more entitled than Gen Z, but Gen Z feels more empowered. So think about it. The millennials grew up with a cell phone. Gen Z's growing up with a smartphone, which has been a game changer. So they feel empowered because they can ask questions of Google. In fact, I just had a conversation with a dad recently that said to me, I'm not having the same conversations with my teenage kids that I had with my dad when I was a teenager. And I said to him, you can thank Google, Siri, and Alexa for that one. So the dinner time conversations we once enjoyed are often now we're on portable devices and we're not having them. But I think that empowerment happens. And by the way, they can look up the dirt on an older generation and see you don't have the answers. Look at your life. It's falling apart like mine is. Now, I may be overspeaking, but I think they see themselves sometimes better positioned to bring about change than the older generation is. And by the way, when they ask for change, or dare I say demand change, I think we go, okay, we'll tweak that. And they're going, oh, no, not a tweak. I want an overhaul. So when we watched the Black Lives Matters protest a few years back, and we even saw initiatives like defund the police, older folks are going, defund the police, that's stupid. But what they're really saying is, I think the entire institution you set up is not working anymore. So if we defund, right or wrong, we get to start over and maybe do something right. So they're crying out, not just for change, but for transformation.
So you're my token Gen Zer. So what do you feel about that? Especially this idea of not wanting a little bit of change is like really wanting transformation.
Well, as soon as I saw that guy's face, I thought, he's not going to know about Gen Z. And then I heard what he said, and I was like, oh, yeah, I think he knows what he's talking about. So that was cool. I definitely resonate with a lot of the stuff that he said there. I think so many of my friends have had this experience of, especially throughout 2020, so many inadequacies of our reality were revealed, things failing and systems that we've set up not working. And as we asked them to change, and we Shaylin mentioned that, had sort of opportunities to reshape what our society looks like, felt like everyone was kind of like, can we just get back to normal as soon as possible though? Mm-hmm. And when change did happen, it was like, oh, here's a boulevard named after the cause that you like. And it's like, well, that's not, but what about the cause that I like? I wasn't campaigning for a boulevard. And so I think, there is a sense of discouragement in that sometimes. But also definitely a sense of, because of the internet, a profound power to shape things in some way.